Well, hello, beautiful artisans. Happy Thursday. We are on Thursday already. So I want to share something with you before we even get started. This is the orchid. I want to show you how my beautiful, beautiful orchid is doing. And you know, they're finding out, as you know, how intelligent our beautiful plants are. So there she is. And you know what her name is? Even though she's an orchid, I think I'm calling her Lily. Lily. She'll pick up the vibrations of when I say Lily. I love it. So if you're new to the channel, welcome to the channel. This is Echo Art with Carmella-T. We create with all recycled materials, fabrics, and supplies. And if you are coming back, thank you so much for coming back. You know what? I love your comments. A lot of you have been following, especially the Boro-inspired utility apron. And yes, we're going to do more of those aprons. And we're going to do just a whole bunch of different Boro-inspired projects, which I need to be working on for a lot of different reasons. So, so today I'm going to share my book with you. So we're going to go over that next. But first I want to share with you the next project I'm working on. And this is, so I'm using the heavyweight yarn. Chunky yarn kind of is what some of you might know it as. And a lovely lady from a store, she had asked me, she loved my granny square hat, and she asked me, she goes, can you make me one? And I said yes. So with this, I'm going to move my coffee and take a sip, and thank you for having a cup of coffee with me. As you can see, it matches my sweater. I got my sweater at the thrift shop. The sweater is like brand new. It was like $4. So with that said, one of the viewers who very sweet friend of mine, happens to work at a thrift shop here. She goes, you have to get now a yellow blouse to go with the Boro-inspired utility apron. She goes, it would pop. And she's absolutely right, because the yellow heart that is on there, it just pops, right? Like you can see it. So she told me that. So yeah, I'll be seeing you at the thrift shop. Shop for my yellow blouse. So these are the granny squares. This is a lovely beige and speckled black. Just love this combo because those speckles are like beige, so that it just is just lovely. So I've got 3 of these done. I'm working on the 4th. This is the 4th. And what I'm going to do, because I'm going to make a number of these anyway, I'll jump back on here, and tomorrow we're going to do a video. Tomorrow, the next day. I think I'm jumping on here about every 2 days. So and it works well because it gives you at least a day to see the project, in get it and watch. So with that, especially in the art world, you need a few minutes to be able to see the project. So we'll talk more about this, the size hook that I'm using, the chunky yarn, and I'll bring you right along with me. We'll make a granny square together. So I'm going to put that over to the side for the moment. So and I'm going to share with you a few of the pieces that are in the book as we talk about the book. And before we even do the book, now I made notes because I had so much I wanted to talk to you about. So before we even do the book, I want to talk about a couple of different, I want to give 2 shout outs basically. Now, and I want to get back to giving my shout outs for Artisans, okay? And but one shout out is to a YouTuber. Some of you may know he has an incredible amount of followers, but he thinks like he's I don't have many. But his name is Perez Hilton. So shout out to him. He does celebrity reports. Now, I gotta tell you, I tried to do celebrity reporting, like, because I thought I was really interested in it and current events, and no, 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 no. Let me tell you, I mean, I do take a lot of energy with my art, but I'm very, it's my expertise. So, and I have my days where I go do lots and lots of research on specific subjects. But with that said, with the celebrities, you know, something comes out, you've got to like fact check and go around this and that. But he does a lovely job of talking in a very ethical, caring manner, and he smiles, got a big smile, and he likes what he's doing. He's very passionate about it. And I really, really enjoy that. I like the objective viewpoints that he presents, because when I hear somebody out there kind of, you know, do name calling, stuff like that, I don't care for that, right? So anyway, shout out to Perez Hilton, and shout out to, if I'm saying her name correctly, and forgive me if I'm not, but her first name is CeCe, and that I know because that's one of my nicknames for Carmella, is CeCe. But anyway, with that, CeCe, I think it's Winan, Winan, if I'm saying that correctly. You know, I see the name, but I'm not hearing it. I'm hearing the song. So CeCe sings these lovely, beautiful hymns in prayerfully, and her voice is heavenly. I don't know any other way to say it. I believe today especially we need prayers that our heart can hear, and we're listening to our heart, and we're being kind to each other. So with that, that's a shout out to CeCe. And so with that, now we're going to, I'm going to try to, might be a little lengthy, you know, might be another 15 minutes. I don't know, we'll see. But look, just to give you, it's 102 pages, my book. The title is lengthy. So it's got to be, the book had to be lengthy too. and the work that I do takes a long time. So I think it's just, I've got a theme going. So with that, it's called Recycle, Inspire, Create: Reviving Earth with Historical Cultural Arts. And some of you are probably saying, well, honest to God, Carmella, why didn't you just say Borrow Inspired? And the reason I didn't is because I'm going to put my chair up there. So the reason I didn't is because there are other methods that you can find or be inspired by, or techniques that are not Borrow inspired. For example, Kawandi inspired, and I mentioned that in here. So I'm going to read a couple little things. I'm going to tell you first what happened as I'm making this book. I'm trying to get in the light here that you can see me good. It's very, very light here and today. But with that, as I was going along, because I am a creative writer, especially in prose and poetry, when I got inspired and passionately moved, I just kind of wrote the poem in the book. So there's several poems in this book, and they're just kind of sporadic as we go through the book. I also have a collection in here, and I'll show you some pictures. I'll read some of the contents to you so you have an idea. So the table of contents are Earth Poem, Preface, How My Passion for Art Began, I share that with you, How I Learned About the Cultural Art Borrow, and then we discuss Recycle, Inspire, Create, the concept, what I'm trying to communicate to you. Then we talk about environmental waste, and we have a half a dozen pages on that. I'm going to read a couple excerpts. We talk about, yes, environmental waste. And then we talk about fast fashion industry. and a Precious Earth poem. I give you a viewpoint, and then we talk about inspiration and creativity and a few subtitles under that. And then we talk about history, and I title these history bits, just like we were kind of doing on this channel for a little while. I was coming on here and saying, I'm just giving you a history bit because I am not a historian. And that is the same thing I did here. Thank you for having coffee with me. I have to have that coffee so I don't lose my voice. So, we don't want that to happen. But I talk about, which I think is especially important nowadays in 2025, even though I wrote this in 2024, I talk about cultural appreciation and cultural appropriation and what the differences are. And we'll talk more, like we'll have a separate video on that because those are really, really important concepts, I believe, to get familiar with. And then my collective is in here, and then I do the Q&A, and I do a prose. I have a prose in here. This, I'm going to share that with you. But first, let me share. This first poem is really long, so I'm going to kind of skip to. I'm going to show you. I just want to show you the first. I'm going to show you this. This sweater is very precious to me because this sweater, my mom was an artist, as I told you. This was hers, and this was the Boro-inspired design she created, and this is what the sweater from which I learned. I looked at it and I went, what is that? This is it. So I share it with you in the book. You can see the sashiko stitching, and then I talk about it. I talk about it as an exhibit. The name of this sweater is The Star. The star is on, my mom painted, look, you can see the star. That's taking a concrete form and using it, mixing it with the Boro technique. So, yeah, my mom loved stars, and she would say, you are a star. And this is what I'm saying to you, all of you. You are stars. So you want to shine, share your passion, share however you share it. You know, it's in the smallest way, sometimes is the largest, and you save lives. You inspire people. You get them back on the right path. You give them a song to sing. So, keep on, keep on. That's what gets me up every day. So I share with you some of my own artwork as we talk about Mother Teresa, Calcutta here, and her the way she thought. You know, she took care of, as you know, infants and children. And so to her, you know, and we talk about this, and I have a quote from her, but the fact that people are taking things that could be recycled and they're like throwing them away really would get to her, because you're throwing that in the garbage and it could mean some very serious basic necessities for another person. So we want to think like that. That inspires me to think more like that. So then we get into, I was going to read you a poem. So first, well, yeah, we'll just go to that one. Yeah, this one I want to read you because this is one of those. This is in the section of the book where we're talking about inspire and create. I'm talking to you, giving you quotes, and I'll read one in a moment, but on great artists, great minds, that they're talking about inspiration and creativity. And then I talk to you, like reflect on it a little bit with you on it. So, but this is a poem I wrote. It's called Inspired. 'Twas a certain song amongst universal reverberations that touched my heart, where raw angles of emotion etched themselves into the sand upon which I stood. So I'm just describing that, just right where I am. This is how inspiration hit me, because it's very difficult to describe it, right? It's a passion, it's abstract, and it is really a different experience for different people. But the one thing is, the one common thread is people recognize it. So they recognize it. They know inspiration when it's has come to them. And and I write a little poem in here about this beautiful flower. So I'll read this to you too. So I guess not everyone's going to get the book, but if you get the book, you'll have the poem. It's called Little Gentle Flower. And this is again in the section of Inspire and Create, and just kind of my passion for the earth. Little gentle flower humbles my very soul, set upon the simple wooden window pane. Little gentle flower sits next to me. Here it is. Sits next to me in its earthen seat, and me in mine. My words are but a whisper, for I know it soaks up each vibration spoken and in motion. Gentle are my words for this gentle little flower. Love and light, Carmella. So that's for you and my flower, Lily. Okay, so with that, I'm going to go back here because I want to share, I'm going to share like an excerpt through like each section, one excerpt, so you get an idea on how I'm presenting and writing this. So, okay, environmental waste. I want to share, if I can find it, I have a lot in here, on the oceans, okay? Okay, I'm going to share with you in here an excerpt from the cleanup. Ocean cleanup, just because I really, really want everyone to get to know, like, who they are. So here it is. I say to you, this article by Kay Teague discusses the size of the patch based on estimation provided by a company named Ocean Cleanup that is in business, and you guessed it, to clean up the ocean. So this is the quote. The Ocean Cleanup estimates that the Great Pacific Garbage Patch occupies, I hope you're sitting down, everyone, occupies 1.6 million square kilometers. Okay, now I'm going to finish reading it, but for those of you who are not familiar, I do talk to you about what this is. The Great Pacific Garbage Patch. It's garbage floating in the ocean, not ocean, the oceans. So, occupies 1.6 million square kilometers, about twice the size of Texas, or 3 times the size of France. It's estimated to span around 620,000 square miles. Now, I've kind of thrown that out there to you, and I give you the exact, what they call the URL, a DOI, and then in the bibliography in the back, I have all detail in the bibliography. So you can go and research this information. But why is this critical to know, I believe, and get familiar with? Not necessarily because we're going to like come up with this great idea all by ourselves, but collectively, if we know that this problem exists, we can seek out different forums to have a voice, to give opinions and maybe locally get involved. So I am looking more and more for the local, more like talk forums, because I would love to go out like and get on a beach and clean up the beach. However, there's a few things that are limiting, as they are for some people, in the physical aspect. So for me, I am trying to get the community efforts that more fit me, and such as giving information like that to in the book, for people finding a way to share the information is what I'm saying. So with that, I want to share something else with you in the book. So I should give you, yeah, I guess we'll do a recap of it at the end here. So now, inspire and create. So let's see. This is, yeah, this is a very interesting. I love this quote, so I'm going to give you this quote. I do have a quote in here by Vincent van Gogh too, but this quote is by Socrates. So, if a man comes to the door of poetry untouched by the madness of the muses, believing that technique alone will make him a good poet, he and his sane compositions never reach perfection, but are utterly eclipsed by the performances of the inspired madman. Let me read it again, and with this recap. Basically what he's saying, and you'll catch it, I had to read it a few times, but yeah, he's talking about creativity. So let's, basically you can know everything in school, but without that creativity, the madman, yeah. So here we go. If a man comes to the door of poetry untouched by the madness of the muses, believing that technique alone will make him a good poet, he and his sane compositions never reach perfection, but are utterly eclipsed by the performances of the inspired madman. And I'll just read to you because I think it's funny now that I wrote it, now that I'm looking. I say, I simply love this quote due to the fact that Socrates grasped the intensity of being inspired. He totally understands it and does so within the realms of his own genius. I speculate he experienced it quite frequently. And, what I meant by that is that he was such a genius level and he's talking about what creativity is, that he has definitely experienced it. You can tell, right? So we talk like that. I give you inspirational quotes throughout this book, and by Vincent van Gogh, Pablo Picasso, and by some of the books that I have here. So yeah, creativity, I had to talk, you have to, if you don't talk about creativity when you're talking about art, like he said, you could just talk about the technical, and that may look perfect, but it may not be perfect. Okay, so it's perfect when your creativity kicks in and takes over. I don't know if that makes any sense. But so with that, some history bits here. I talked to you about creating with recycled fabrics. I'm talking to you about the historical aspects of Boro inspired, and we talk about different patchworks that were historical. So let's see here. I just give you a sentence here. The concept of reusing fabrics and other items dates back centuries. In general, we may speculate that cultures differed in the reasons to reuse certain materials. Maybe the resources were low in their geographic area, or maybe it was because of a well-established tradition. However, there are other reasons that scrap fabrics were used, and we look at those reasons. And then we look at the different countries. We talk about some different how they use different techniques. And then we come across the Boro Sashiko, and I'm referencing an article that I just love, and I say by Swetha and Nirmala, those are the authors of this article that I am referencing in a paper. Their last names are Renka and Varghese, and they discuss upcycling and creating and based using the Boro technique and as a way of the future. I totally believe that. That's why I am so passionate about this. Recycling and creating with recycled materials and fabrics was the way of the past. And how genius that was then. So I believe it's totally a way of the future, and there's got to be many genius ways waiting, and I'm using that word a lot, but what I mean is innovative and creative ways in a big corporate sense to create hubs and, like that's what I'm thinking. So I'll share this little tidbit with you, creating with recycled fabrics. I'll just read this paragraph. I find it very interesting that some ancient quilts have been found to be made with patchwork technique dating back centuries. One such quilt was made during the Shang Dynasty, and it dates back to 1600 to 1027 BC. That was over 3,600 years ago. This type of artifact is not something we just stumble over. Apparently, it was well preserved and had significant purpose at the time. And I go on. 3,600, for anything to last 3,600 years. There was special care put into that. It had great meaning to this culture. We really can learn from this, right? So anyway, I share like that, and I have more history bits on sharing cultural arts, and we talk about all of the different countries from North America, Turkey, Persia, to China, and all the things that they made, and the working with patchwork, dating back centuries. So we go on a good amount of history. And in the history area, I talked to you about the crazy quilt and Japanese patchwork and the exhibition that took place in 1876. You're going to love this. I mean, and then we talk about cultural appreciation and cultural appropriation. And I'll just verbalize to you a little bit here. And this information I take from the National Institute of Health, Office of Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion. And we know, just as of yesterday, there were major changes put in place there. So guess what? I was lucky enough to capture something of it in this book. So we talk about this, culture appreciation, and how important it is, especially if you're looking at history of our country, of another country, of around the world, and of societies. And yes, art reflects society and politics and what's going on in that moment. So this is some very interesting things I kept. This is why it took me so long. I wanted it to be interesting. I think it is, because I was reading it again last night. So anyway, with that, I'm going to share one more thing with you. I'm going to share, look, some of my collective. I talked to you about the materials and whatnot I used to create this. And then I talked to you about how, like, the creative process a little bit. And this is from my other book that you remember, The Bridge of Life. We have a part 2 coming out on this, and let me tell you, it's kind of scaring me a little bit. It's good. That's coming out soon. Yeah. So, and this is some, there's a picture of my hat. You know, I did these pictures of things that we work on. So you have the book, and then you have, like, you want to make a hat like I'm making, and we've been making, and you have a picture for reference. Some people go strictly by that. They're visionaries. They look at that, and they're like, boom, okay, I can do it. And then, of course, my beautiful bear. And this is Kawandi inspired. We have our Boro inspired. We need our Kawandi inspired mandala. And these are some of my bigger pieces. And this is this piece of the village. We'll have to do more villages because I'm hooked on those too. We have to do more villages. I love this. You know, I painted this also. So this was stitched. I love this. So that's in the book. I wanted to give you a picture of that. That way you have it, you know, because some of you followed me on that. You worked on your own pieces and you loved it. So there's a little heirloom. And yeah, and this is of diversity. And this is the one I actually took this and I created the Boro Sashiko utility apron. It's very big. So that one I did share with you. So this, but when I did this here, in here, and the title's still diversity, but that's a wall piece there. So you're taking the piece. I took the piece and created it into the apron. So this is a very special piece to me, Dimensions of Time. And you can see all the different little stitches that I used there. So anyway, let's see here. The last, and then I have Q&As in the back. And I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, 5. I have 5 pages of the Q&As. So, with the most common questions. So let's see if I can find the prose. Here it is. So, in the back here, I consider myself very conceptual artist, okay, as you know, more than technical and finesse and, you know what I mean, more conceptual. So, with that, I believe with many techniques, once you get that concept and you understand the history, you understand the meaning, you approach your projects completely different. At least for me, I do, and I will. So with that, I talked to you a little bit about Boro inspired art, understanding and creating, and I dedicate a few pages to that to you. So this is a page long, but I'm going to read at least part of it to you because it's too long, but you'll get the idea. I share with you the mindset that I have when I approach my pieces here. What is my mindset when I'm sitting and I'm stitching? So, my mindset in prose. My heart, mind, and soul transport to ancient Japan, 1500s. Doesn't have to be 1500s, but it's back there. It's way back in history. I do feel a little out of time here, but little out of sorts. But I'll start again. My heart, mind, and soul transports to ancient Japan, 1500s. By the light of the fire, I stitch mindfully, with a pace of urgency clad with weariness. I am concerned about my loved one being warm, and I must mend this torn garment today. Light by the fire is minimal, as is the warmth. I stitch to mend, as I stitch. Midday is upon us, and dampness creeps in to our tiny space. I must stop stitching to tend to the fire. My hands are raw and cold. Our food is minimal. I stitch with the few mending tools handed down to me by my mother, so dear to my heart. I am grateful for, and I go on. So I added, the reason I have the scenario is I was taking the facts from history, where the Japanese farmers way back 1415 1600, they were passing down these quilts and wall pieces and these pieces to stay warm. They were passing down their tools. They were passing down the technique and showing their daughters and sons and grandchildren how to do this. That's why I added that piece. I stitch with the few mending tools handed down to me. So anyway, I share this with you. This is my book for you. So and I will put the link to it, and I hope that you really enjoy it, and please let me know if you have any questions. And oh, so this is what I wanted to do. Yeah, I just wanted to recap. So yes, the book Recycle, Inspire, Create. So these are my passions: to create with recycled materials, fabrics, and supplies. And as you know, a way, just one tiny little way to give our earth a little hug, a little help, a little relief from the landfills being so full and the oceans just choking on the garbage, for lack of a better way to say it. So I'll end this with the poem I write about the earth. Part of it anyway. This is part of it, because this is long. The truth, our earth, the truth. Our earth suffers. Lunar energies disconnect as waves lose their rhythm. Oceans refuse to recognize boundaries as they swell with rage, saturated in mountains of stagnation, crusted onto their foamy peaks, while Earth's table shakes. Due to constant construction, ripping into the woodlands, war bombs exploding as pipelines continue to protrude into volcanic veins of our living earth. That's part of it. So it goes on. But anyway, let me know what you think. I really just want to extend my thanks to you, because you are the ones who inspired me to create this. I never thought in a million years I could write a book like this, and I did. And I want to say with that, if you're out there and you have a passion and you really want to tell the world about it, write your book. And self-publishing, I'm going to tell you, many years ago when I was doing poetry, I did have an agent. She was lovely. However, it's not necessary. It is not necessary. All the tools are at our fingertips right now. And it's a time saver. You can get your ideas down. You can redo them. You can get them out in the strength and the emotion and the way you want that message to be out there for people. And how do you write? Just start writing down like you're talking. That's just one way. But anyway, with that, I hope you have a beautiful day. I'll hold this up because this is a piece I wanted to also share with you and inspire you to do your Boro Sashiko. And with that, I hope you have an absolutely beautiful day. Let me know what your thoughts are, what your questions are, and I'm happy to answer. Love and light. Blessings.